this one woman said to me as I'm opening the door to let her in to see the house, she says, "You're way prettier in your picture."
Wow.
And I was like, okay, like, how do I react to this? Because really what I want to do is punch her in the face. Hey, everyone, and welcome to Life with a Cheri on Top. I'm Cheri Hagan, your host, and today I'm joined by my husband, Kevin. Hello, handsome.
What's happening, beautiful?
Whole lot of nothing so far. So today I want to talk about, well, it's kind of a broad spectrum here, but I want to talk about society and how people look determines how you're treated. Boy, there's so many different directions I can go in here. This might be a long one. I'm going to start with the story of when I had my concussion and why I didn't go to the hospital right away.
Okay.
So it's a long story, but I fell down in a tub because it had a little bit of water in it, and I knocked my head, and I never lost consciousness. And I thought, big deal. I'll have a headache, whatever. And you were out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And that night I went to bed at 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I woke up about 1:30, the most ill I have ever been in my entire life. I mean, I just couldn't stop throwing up. It was ridiculous. And I couldn't, my neck hurt so bad, I couldn't hold my head up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was not only, vomiting in the toilet bowl where you're supposed to vomit, but after a while I couldn't hold my head up. So I was just laying on the bathroom floor, just throwing up everywhere. You really missed quite a scene.
I'm sorry I wasn't home.
And, you're welcome. I cleaned all that up.
Yeah.
So anyway, that went on all night. And I had called a friend of mine in the morning to say, hey, I'm sure I have a concussion. Can you come take me to the hospital? And she said, sure, I'll be right there. And it was, I don't know, maybe 6:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, don't come yet. I need to take a shower. And she was like, what?
Yeah, as I was.
I know. And I said, no, I have to take a shower because in my head, it's not just in my head, quite frankly. That's the whole point of this discussion. When you look better, you get treated better. And that includes in a hospital. So I didn't want to go looking like I looked because trust me, I have never looked worse. And so I called our friend back at 8:30 and said, okay, I've managed to stand in the shower, and do my hair. I mean, I didn't have makeup on, but I had to look halfway decent. And so she came to pick me up. But the reason behind that is because I do know, having been what I call fugly in my teenage years, glasses, braces, 5'9".
What do you mean, like everybody?
Yeah, but no, I was especially
No,
fugly.
I'm sure you weren't.
Oh no, I really was. I had the worst hair ever, because back in the day, the Farrah Fawcett hair was in. Well, I have curly hair. That's not happening.
Yeah.
I tried. It was not happening. And then acne and the whole 9 yards. And I was either overweight or underweight, not knowing at the time that I had a thyroid condition called Hashimoto's, which either sends you into hypo or hyperthyroidism. So you're either heavy or you're thin.
Right.
And it wasn't based on anything I was doing, although as a teenager, you don't know that. Everything is drama, So I just, when I was going to the hospital, I was like, I have to at least do my hair. I can't.
Is that your grandma's voice in your head? Because didn't she tell you once
to wear lipstick?
To always go out looking your best? And
no, she didn't do that, but she did tell me to always wear lipstick. But then it's funny because then when I got older, she told me there were certain shades of lipstick that a woman of a certain age should no longer wear. I was like, wow, okay, Graham, thanks. But that's okay. She meant well, but
Yeah.
that wasn't it. No, it really is based on my life and how I've been treated based on how I look. So not only is it hair and, and makeup, which I would never leave the house before without a full face of makeup on. Like, even if I had to run to the drugstore, I would have a full face of makeup on. You broke me of that because you always told me that I'm beautiful no matter what.
You are.
And because he's like the sweetest ever. He's also sometimes full of shit. I do look like shit sometimes, but
I'll tell you that too.
no, you don't. You never do. You never do. Based on weight, based on hair, based on a million different things, you're treated differently. And I want to know, because I'm obviously a woman, is it that way for men as well?
Yeah, to a point. It's probably more exaggerated. It's more exaggerated for women, I would think, because it's just because I think people have a certain mindset of what a woman should look like or what her weight should be and all that. Where I don't think that's the same for a guy. But I do recall, this goes back quite a bit, when I had a knee surgery done. I was traveling, and I still was traveling even after the knee surgery, and pretty recently after it. As a matter of fact, so recently I was wearing sweats to an appointment that I was going to, and I was a district manager for a company and was going to one of their stores, and I went there frequently, and frequently enough that where I rented my car from, the people knew me there.
Okay.
And they were always like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Hagan, here's your car. We upgraded you today, blah blah blah." And I was always spotted, but I was always in a in a nice suit and a tie back in the day. And in this particular, I was wearing gym shoes, sweatpants, because I couldn't put regular pants on with my knee braces and stuff.
Right.
And I had one crutch. I think I had a cane, not a crutch. I think I had a cane, and I was wearing maybe a collared golf shirt.
Sure.
And I walked up to the counter, and then the same girl, I recognized her. I don't remember her name, but she was like, "May I help you?" Instead of, the normal greeting I got. And I'm like, I just glanced at her. I'm like, "Yeah, I need a car.
Yeah.
I got a reservation." She's like, "What's the name?" Like, "It's Kevin Hagan." "Oh, you're Mr. Hagan." I'm like, "I'm still the same guy." I mean, I didn't look
right
as professional there was clearly a way that I was prejudged going into that scenario. So, that, and currently I'm obviously a little older, a little larger at this point as well. And, I still travel frequently. So walking down an airplane, I do feel like I get those stares, with "Oh, Jesus, this guy sitting next to me, is he going to be the one who sits next to me?" And, I'm not Southwest or anything, so it's not like the cattle car, but
right.
I certainly still get that feeling every once.
Well, I mean, it's not as if you require two seats,
Right.
But I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I mean by I get it is I understand what he's saying, not I condone what the message that he's receiving. Right. So I think that's in particular, my weight has been an issue for as long as I can remember because obviously of the Hashimoto's. Again, didn't know that at the time. So it's the same everywhere, but I think it's more pronounced, I guess is the word I'm looking for, in business. I'm taken more seriously in business if I'm thinner. I don't get it. I'm the same person.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same exact kind of things.
Yeah.
But I'm taken, I don't know how else to put it. I'm taken more seriously. And you don't have that experience.
Well, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I mean, I guess I can go back to when I was looking for a job. At one point, I kept going to interviews and they kept saying, "You're overqualified, you're overqualified." Well, I've had gray hair since I was 21 years old. I started turning gray. So I've had gray hair for a long time. And all I heard people saying was, "You're old." And I
Even though you were probably overqualified for all of those jobs, what you were
many
hearing
of
was you
them,
were old.
yeah,
Yeah.
many of them I was. But yeah, that's all I kept kind of hearing. So one interview, I went out and got some, hair dye and actually dyed my color look horrible. It was,
Was it like,
I dyed my hair
was it the
brown, or
Grecian formula?
I think so. I don't want to say,
okay.
good or bad about any particular brand, but
all right. Sorry.
yeah, it was one of those, but I used, I think, too many of them. And it turned out to really be like a shoe polish more than a hair color on the top of my head.
Oh my God.
But I got the job. And so the first thing I did was, I stopped using it, and I was remote. So I was out of town and I didn't get to see the person that hired me. I hadn't seen that individual in probably, I don't know, a couple of months.
Yeah.
And when I went back in, they're like, dude, what's with the gray hair? I'm like, this job's killing me. I can't, it's so hard. But yeah, so I guess I felt like that a little bit at that point, but I think it, like you said, it's a little bit, it's definitely more, I don't think as many male.
Yeah. I mean, my parents raised me as, you respect everybody. Doesn't matter what they look like, from the janitor to the president of the company, you respect what they do. And I always have. And so in that perspective, I think that's also why I never get intimidated by anybody.
Yeah, very true.
Because, whether, and I get it, my whole family's police, so I don't get intimidated by policemen, but even presidents of companies or whomever, I think the only person I've been intimidated by was Christina Aguilera when you had me meet her in Vegas. And that was just because she's like God to me because I love her voice so much. But aside from that, I'm just not intimidated by anybody. And I think that has to do with my upbringing of, everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time. And it bothers me a lot that most people they either aren't taught that anymore or they just don't care.
Yeah. I think that COVID kind of put everybody in their own bubble, and it really took it didn't force people to be be by themselves, but it kind of did in its own way.
Yeah.
And just the result of that was there's, people aren't treating other people the same, I think. It's just, I don't know if it's that moment that really struck me that's, those things were happening, but as more and more people weren't out in society, they weren't able to speak to people in society or treat people the right way. And it seems like that's just continuing, snowballing, but that's a whole.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I remember showing up, I'm currently a realtor and will always be a realtor. I love that business. So if you're looking to buy or sell in the Chicagoland area, just let me know. We were, or not we, I was showing up for an appointment, and this was back when I used to advertise with Zillow. Okay. So you would meet total strangers, obviously. And this one woman said to me as I'm opening the door to let her in to see the house, she says, "You're way prettier in your picture."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, like, how do I react to this? Because really what I want to do is punch her in the face, but I'm not going to. So, I said, "Oh, well, thanks. I'll take that as a compliment that I'm photogenic." Like, because,
because it's really not a compliment.
It's not a compliment at all, but I was trying to
sure, it's a potential client.
Yeah. Yeah. And, she didn't buy a house from me anyway, but people amaze me at the things that they will just outright say to, like, I didn't ask you, Mike, gee, do you think I'm pretty enough to let you through the door? Like, it's just not even something, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And the first words out of her mouth to me were, "Wow, you're much prettier on your website." I'm like, what? What? Who does that? But it's, so my whole point to this is, you do get treated differently based on how you look, based on what you weigh, based on, So the next time I go to the hospital, you have to let me get ready.
Sure. Right after your heart attack, let's go up and take a shower.
Yes, that's right.
Get you all prepared to go in.
Actually, I want to use it as an example. Well, not that, sorry. But when he was recently in the hospital because I was convinced he had had a stroke, like a little mini stroke. And it was Bell's palsy or whatever. But they kept saying, what medications are you on? And you would say the one,
right?
The one medication you're on for what? Cholesterol, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all he's on. And the doctors and nurses would all look at me like, he can't be telling the truth. I would say, yeah, that's it. He's on the one. And they're like, oh, wow, you're not diabetic. You don't have high blood pressure. Right. And it was rude. Like, I'm telling you the medication I'm on. Now drop it, Yeah,
that's a good point. I kind of forgot that one.
Yeah, no, it's weird to me. So even when I go to the gym, I mean, I don't put a face full of makeup on. That's not what I mean. But when I go to the gym, I go to the gym with my hair done and usually some sort of lip gloss and something, just because, and I know like nobody's looking at me. No, I know this in my head. Nobody's looking at me. But somewhere deep down in my brain, I go, you're that ugly 13-year-old who.
Oh, maybe.
Well, it's true. I'm not.
That's sad.
Listen. Oh, yeah. Poor me. I mean,
it is kind of sad.
It's not. It's not. It's just. It is what it is. Honestly, I'm not saying that for empathy or sympathy. I'm just saying it because deep down in my brain, I'm still that ugly 13-year-old, and I always will be, no matter what. So I've always taken like, okay, when I leave this house, I better look halfway decent. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I just said why. Yeah,
the gym I don't get. Other stuff, like when we go to dinner or something, I get because you're always, and I'll say we because I am also helping out with that. But I think we're always kind of on the hunt for a new client for you because people are out and about. That if we go to dinner, we meet a lot of people that are looking for houses and stuff. So I get that part where you need to you have that's out at dinners and stuff. But I think that's important for you to look that part. I even agree. Going out. So I get that, but it's, but
even at the gym, like what if the Park District lady is talking about a house? I have to, you know what I mean? I
guess, yeah.
There's a joke. If you want to sell a house, either look your worst or, when you're like trying to get clients, look your worst, you'll run into somebody that's looking to buy or sell. Or if you're trying to sell something, go on vacation. Because that's when you're the busiest. And it's the truth.
The last one definitely is. I know that for a fact.
I know you do. I feel so bad every time we're on vacation. I'm like, honey, I'm sorry. I have to break this contract. Honey, I'm sorry. I got to look at this contract.
It's all good. I get a chance to peek at my emails when you're not.
Oh, no, I know. Working. I'm aware. Yeah. But anyway, so getting back to society, sorry. I really do wish that people weren't so judgmental, period.
Yeah.
But especially grown-ups who should know better, people in business, shouldn't treat anybody differently based on their looks or their appearance. Or I mean, I get it. If you show up and you have holes in your jeans and a t-shirt and you're a realtor, okay, probably not somebody I want to use. That's not what I mean.
See, but you're prejudging. That might be the greatest person in the world to use.
That's very true, but you have to sometimes look the part.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm with you for the most part, but
what I'm talking about is like, whether I weigh 150 pounds or 180 pounds should make no difference. Right. And it is a 30-pound swing with me almost all the time. I'm either at my heaviest or at my lightest within a 30-pound swing. And I do get treated differently. And not by my coworkers, not by anybody that already knows me. I'm just talking about people prejudging
Hmm.
based on weight. And I'm not, I am by no means trying to say, holy crow, am I obese? That's not what I mean. But 30 pounds is 30 pounds. And that's a big
Hmm.
difference on somebody, even at my height.
Hmm.
I'm able to hide it better because I'm 5'9" than
Hmm.
somebody who's 5 feet tall and gained 30 pounds.
Right.
But I do get judged regardless. And it's just irritating.
With all the changes, I never really looked at those things before, and I guess I've just I don't know
Recently
what's
become aware.
changed. Yeah,
Yeah.
and not I've been aware of it. I've just never looked for it, and
Right.
I think sometimes if you look for something, you'll find no matter what you're looking for.
Oh, for sure.
But I try not to do that because it's depressing. I think I don't want to see that
Yeah.
in the world, but it's definitely there.
Well, I think for you and the airplane thing, I think you're right going back to COVID because when, nobody was flying for a long time.
Hmm.
And then when you were, you had a mask on. And then for a while, if you didn't have, excuse me, if you didn't have a mask on, you were judged
Hmm.
because you're not wearing a mask, And
Yeah.
and listen, I'm all for masks. If you're sick, wear an effing mask for God's sake. But I think then people started judging people just based on whether or not they were wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And I think it just picked up steam from there. And I think maybe that's why you feel more self-conscious on an airplane because
It's a good point.
they're kind of, I think that snowballed from a mask to.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you coughed, people
Right.
turn around and look at you like, dude, it was a cough. I mean,
We
you
were
know.
at dinner last night and I sneezed and I was mortified,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
not sick. I was mortified. I was like, oh my God, people are looking at me right now because I sneezed. They think I have COVID, blah,
Yeah.
and obviously I don't. Yeah, it's interesting. I just wanted to see your perspective from a guy's perspective, whether you went through the same kinds of things I do. And it seems like you did with the whole hair thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess, I mean, in general, to a point, you know, that was very rare that happened to me. So,
I think generally speaking as well, women are more sensitive to what is going on around them more than men.
yeah.
So,
Mm,
like you
no doubt.
said,
Yeah.
you weren't aware of it for a long time. And suddenly now you are.
Didn't need to be, didn't think about it. So,
Yeah.
didn't pay attention to it. So,
All right. Well, there's our perspective on society and weight and how you look makes a difference and it shouldn't, but it does. And I really hope that parents continue to teach their children, everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time and to treat everybody with kindness because that really goes a long way. And
Yeah.
I don't want to just end it there because that is something that I go out of my way to do. And you always laugh and you do it sweetly. And you're like, you are so sweet. But I always try to, when I'm at a grocery store or I'm at wherever I am, if somebody looks like they're having a shit day, I will just try to say something nice. Oh,
Yeah.
I love your blouse,
Right.
even if I hate it. I'll just say that. And they're like, really? Oh my gosh, thank you. And just a little bit of kindness can make such a big difference in somebody's day.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that message goes forward. And I hope that parents are teaching their kids that kindness is compassion,
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see a lot of that these days. What you see online is
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's
Karens,
Right.
da.
well, everybody has to have something to bitch at. But
And why, by the way, is there no male equivalent for the name? Like,
there is, and I'm not going to tell you what it is.
what is it?
It's Kevin.
It is not.
I swear somebody just said that on the radio the other day. I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Seriously?
I that's what I heard. Maybe that's wrong. I hope it's wrong. But I don't know. Someone said that. I forget where I heard it.
Huh. That's interesting. Okay. I've never heard that because everybody
I'll have
just
to
says,
take a review of that
oh, she's
somehow.
being such a Karen. So all the Karens in the world, I'm sorry that you got stuck with that little, Karen became a adjective instead of just a name. I am going to wrap it up with that. So please try to be compassionate and be kind to those around you. And we'll talk again soon. If you have any comments on this show or any other, you can reach out to me at lifewithasherryontop@gmail.com, or you can go to the website, lifewithasherryontop.com, and leave a message there. Thanks, everybody. Good talking to you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.